Hi, my name is Luke Ferraro, and I'm 18 years old and a senior at Glastonbury High School. In 2011, I suffered a seizure in my kitchen. My family rushed me to the hospital where I spent multiple nights undergoing numerous tests. Eventually, it was determined that I had long QT syndrome. I was taken out of all activities and was put on a beta blocker to control my heart rate. In addition to this, I also had to carry around an AED everywhere I went. After a few years of this and more testing, I was allowed to reintegrate more activities back into my life, and I began to play sports again. When high school started, I joined the crew team, which had been a dream of mine, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do because of my condition. So when I joined, I wanted to make the most of it. I joined the Pulling for Pulse fundraising committee, which was a committee within the fundraising on my team, where in addition to raising money for our team, we also raised money for heart health associations and would donate money to these organizations after raising money for our team. So I thought it was a great fit for me considering my background, and was fully immersed in it all 4 years at high school so far. But everything back then, it was going great up until my sophomore year, where I suffered an episode where I blacked out in school and was rushed to the hospital. There they determined that I would need to have a link monitor implanted in my chest because they weren't able to determine what had caused it. And so by having this device implanted in my chest, they would be able to monitor my heart rate, and should another episode happen, see what was going on with my heart at the time. And so I underwent the surgery and went back to living life as normal. And everything was going fine up until almost a year to the date when I suffered another episode while out with my friends. I blacked out and hit my head on the pavement where I was. I was rushed to the hospital again, but first came, when I first got there, they had to put me into ICU because I had suffered a serious head injury and my brain was bleeding and swelling. I had suffered a contracoup contusion, which meant that when I had fallen, my brain had bounced and hit both the front and back of my head and my skull and was bleeding. And so first I spent multiple days while they monitored my brain, and then they determined that by looking at the link monitor that my heart had actually stopped for over 30 seconds during the episode. They realized that it was because of my medication that I was on, which was meant to slow down my heart and control it, had actually slowed it to the point where it had stopped. And so they offered me the options of either stopping my medication or getting a pacemaker implanted. And remembering the pretty serious mental repercussions of my first surgery and first few episodes, I decided that I would just stop taking the medication and not go forward with any surgeries yet. And so far, it has been a very good decision of mine, and I have lived much easier without having this medication, which also had other side effects like depression and just made me more lethargic in general. So I was very happy to be off of that medication. But going forward, during this time of recovery for my brain, I was put in contact with Mike Papali, and in a heartbeat, through a family friend who had heard his story and saw the similarities between him and I. And so I immediately wanted to reach out, and what was at first reaching out for mental support turned into me wanting to help in any way I could. And so after a few phone calls and a few in-person meetings, we decided that I could help by sharing my story at some of his events, specifically his golf tournament that they sponsored every year. And so with that on the schedule, I worked at preparing a speech. But in the meantime, through my fundraising committee, Pulling for Pulse, we had raised enough money to buy a new boat for our team. And also, we took the money that we normally donated to the American Heart Association, and I decided that we should instead donate to Mike's organization, In a Heartbeat. So with this money, I presented it to Mike, where he actually turned around and gave the money back to us in the form of an AED and said that we could donate it to a organization in town. And so together with Mike's help, I went and donated the AED to the local YMCA. And being able to do this was a really great experience, and it's great that Mike gets to do this all the time, because being able to give back and provide others with the help and support that Mike provided me was a really great feeling. And so I would love to do that again and love working with Mike. And so anyway, going forward, when I later spoke at his golf tournament, again, I had another great experience, because I was doing the very thing that I had looked for. You know, I wanted somebody young that I could connect to and see also suffered from a heart condition like me. And there I met multiple young people just like me who had suffered from serious heart conditions, and it was a really, really great experience to be able to see what Mike is doing and bringing these people together and showing that we can support each other. And it was after really all of this that got me to turn around and start doing really well. I had struggled in school for a bit because of my condition, because my medication, it had brought me down, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to achieve my goals. But after all of this and meeting people and being able to open up, I turned myself around and ended up getting into my dream school, Fordham, and where I will be continuing to help Mike and help my community by working with anyone I can to raise heart health awareness, raise money, donate AEDs, anything I can. And I look forward to continuing to working with Mike, continuing to working with In a Heartbeat, and working with anybody who needs any sort of support. I'll be there for you. So thank you, Mike. Thank you, In a Heartbeat, for everything you've done for me, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.